for a very long time. When Lord Balaram returned to Vrindavan, all the cowherd boys and the gopis had grown up. But still, on his arrival, they all embraced him, and Balaram embraced them in reciprocation. After this, he came before Maharaj Nanda and Yashoda and offered his respectful obeisances. In response, Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj offered their blessings unto him. They addressed him as Jagadishvara, or the Lord of the universe who maintains everyone. The reason for this was that Krishna and Balaram maintained all living entities. And yet Nanda and Yashoda were put into such difficulties on account of their absence. Feeling like this, they embraced Balaram and seating him on their laps, began their perpetual crying, wetting Balaram with their tears. Lord Balaram then offered his respectful obeisances to the elderly cowherd men and accepted their obeisances of the younger cowherd men. Thus, according to their different ages and relationships, Lord Balaram exchanged feelings of friendship with them. He shook hands with those who were his equals in age and friendship, and with loud laughing embraced each one of them. After being received by the cowherd men and boys, the gopis, and King Nanda and Yashoda, Lord Balaram sat down, feeling satisfied, and they all surrounded him. First, Lord Balaram inquired from them about their welfare, and then, since they had not seen him for such a long time, they began to ask him different questions. The inhabitants of Vrindavan had sacrificed everything for Krishna, simply being captivated by the lotus eyes of the Lord. Because of their great desire to love Krishna, they never desired anything like elevation to the heavenly planets or merging into the effulgence of Brahman to become one with the absolute truth. They were not even interested in enjoying a life of opulence, but were satisfied in living a simple life in the village as cowards. They were always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and did not desire any personal benefit, and they were all so much in love with him that in his absence their voices faltered when they began to inquire from Balaramji. First Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya inquired, "My dear Balaram, are our friends like Vasudeva and others in the family doing well? Now you and Krishna are grown up, married men with children. In the happiness of family life, do you sometimes remember your poor father and mother, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi? It is very good news that the most sinful King Kamsa has been killed by you, and that our friends like Vasudeva and the others who had been harassed have now been relieved. It is also very good news that you and Krishna defeated Jarasandha and Kalayavan, who is now dead, and that you are now living in a fortified residence in Dwarka." Unquote. When the gopis arrived, Lord Balaram glanced over them with loving eyes. Being overjoyed, the gopis, who had so long been mortified on account of Krishna's and Balaram's absence, began to ask about the welfare of the two brothers. They specifically asked Balaram whether Krishna was enjoying his life surrounded by the enlightened woman of Dwarkapuri. Does he sometimes remember his father, Nanda, and his mother, Jashoda, and the other friends with whom he so intimately behaved while in Vrindavan? Does Krishna have any plans to come here to see his mother, Yashoda? And does he remember us gopis who are now pitiably bereft of his company? Krishna may have forgotten us in the midst of the cultured women of Dwarka, but as far as we are concerned, we still remember him by collecting flowers and sewing them into garlands. When he does not come, however, we simply pass our time by crying. If only he would come here and accept these garlands as we have made. Dear Lord Balaram, descendants of Dashara, you know that we would give up everything for Krishna's friendship. Even in great distress, one cannot give up the connection of family members. But although it might be impossible for others, we gave up our fathers, mothers, sisters, and relatives. But then Krishna, without caring a pinch for our renunciation, all of a sudden renounced us and went away. He broke off our intimate relationship without serious consideration and left for a foreign country. But he was so clever and cunning that he manufactured very nice words. He said, "My dear gopis, please do not worry. The service you have rendered me is impossible for me to repay. After all, we are women, so how could we disbelieve him? Now we can understand that his sweet words were simply for cheating us." Unquote. Protesting Krishna's absence from Vrindavan, another gopi said, "My dear Balaramji, we all are of course village girls, so Krishna could cheat us in that way. But what about the women in Dwarka? Don't think they are as foolish as we are. We village women might be misled by Krishna, but the women in the city of Dwarka are very clever and intelligent. Therefore, I would be surprised if such city women could be misled by Krishna and could believe his words." Then another gopi began to speak. "My dear friend," she said, "Krishna is very clever in using words. No one can compete with him in that art. He can manufacture such colorful words and talk so sweetly that the heart of any woman would be misled. Besides that, he has perfected the art of smiling very attractively, and by seeing his smile, women become mad after him and give themselves to him without hesitation." Another gopi, after hearing this, said, "My dear friends, what is the use of talking about Krishna? If you are all interested in passing time by talking, let us talk on some subject other than him. If cruel Krishna can pass his time without us, why can't we pass our time without Krishna? Of course, Krishna is passing his days without us very happily, but we cannot pass our days happily without him." When the gopis were talking in this way, their feelings for Krishna became more and more intense, and they were experiencing Krishna's smiling, Krishna's words of love, Krishna's attractive features, Krishna's characteristics, and Krishna's embraces. By the force of their ecstatic feelings, it appeared to them that Krishna was personally present and dancing before them. Because of their sweet remembrance of Krishna, they could not check their tears, and they cried without consideration. Lord Balaram, of course, could understand the ecstatic feelings of the gopis, and therefore he wanted to pacify them. He was expert in presenting an appeal, and thus treating the gopis very respectfully. He began to narrate the stories of Krishna so tactfully that the gopis became satisfied. To keep the gopis of Vrindavan satisfied, Lord Balaram stayed there continuously for 2 months, namely the months of Chaitra, March and April, and Vaishakha, April and May. For those 2 months, he kept himself among the gopis, and he passed every night with them in the forest of Vrindavan to satisfy the desire for conjugal love. Thus Balaram also enjoyed the rasa dance with the gopis during those 2 months. Since the season was springtime, the breeze on the bank of the Yamuna was blowing very mildly, carrying the aroma of different flowers, especially flower known as Kaumudi. Moonlight filled the sky and spread everywhere, and thus the banks of the Yamuna appeared very bright and pleasing, and Lord Balaram enjoyed the company of the gopis there.
Yes, the next one here. Here. Let's read this one. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, the Yamuna part, and then we'll go to the next.
While Balaram was in that happy mood, he desired to enjoy the company of the gopis in the water of the Yamuna. Therefore, he called the Yamuna to come nearby. But the Yamuna neglected the order of Balaramji, considering him intoxicated. Lord Balaram became very much displeased at the Yamuna's neglecting his order. He immediately wanted to scratch the land near the river with his plowshare. Lord Balaram has two weapons, a plow and a club, from which he takes service when they are required. This time he wanted to bring the Yamuna by force, and he took the help of his plow. He wanted to punish the Yamuna because she did not come in obedience to his order. He addressed the Yamuna, "You wretched river, you did not care for my order. Now I shall teach you a lesson. You did not come to me voluntarily. Now, with the help of my plow, I shall force you to come. I shall divide you into hundreds of scattered streams." Unquote. When the Jamuna was threatened like this, she became greatly afraid of the power of Balaram and immediately came in person, falling at his lotus feet and praying thus: "My dear Balaram, you are the most powerful personality and you are pleasing to everyone. Unfortunately, I forgot your glorious, exalted position, but now I have come to my senses."
Let's now go to the next one. Chapter 67.
He's gone now.
Small tablet, can you go in? Can you go in? Yes.
Poquito se lo perdó, फोन पे एक निकालो कुर्सी कोई नहीं चलेगा
फोन ही गिरा मेरा
तुलसी माई का उसमें कटी का देखिए
देखो यही गड़बड़ हुई थी मैंने आपको बोला था ना मैंने मुझे कैसे बोलता कि वो गाने मत छोड़ उसी के चक्कर में कुछ हो रहा
आपका करो वो
एक मिनट बस नीचे आ जाओ एक मिनट
नीचे आ गए भाई दूर हो आप अगर जरूरत ऊपर नहीं आती है क्या है चलो आप आपको लगा दो फटाफट छोटा नहीं बड़ा भगवान के तरफ नहीं है तो मैं आरती कर दूं कभी आरती करी
नहीं आ रही
He's a cautious. Madhubha, he's a surgeon, but he's cautious. He doesn't want to deal with doesn't want to mess up with Prabhupada paraphernalia. He's very cautious. Tomorrow, Pranam, you can do Aarti tomorrow. Tomorrow the last day. You make up yet?
You can see how you do it. Well, if you observe it,
खेल कर रखा है आइए आप आइए प्लीज
I have to.
मतलब तो तेरे को कर अच्छा है आया तो मैं ना करिए
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashyatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Namaste Narasimhaya Pramadadadayine Dantakasi Purvakara Shilakanta Nathare Ito Nasiva Parato Nasiva Yato Yato Yami Tato Nasiva Pare Nasiva Hridaye Nasiva Narasimhayim Saranam Prabhade Tavakara Kamalare Natham Adbhuta Singha Navalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshava Sridhara किचन